Good afternoon, everyone. I am Florence, the organizer, and welcome to our webinar on contours comparison with ARTIVIEW Structure Check. So please note that this session is recorded. We remind you that you are in listen-only mode. At any given time, you can raise a hand or send messages through the question section of your panel or the chat section. And our expert today is Clarisse Barthaud, our oncology project manager, and I'm turning the presentation on to you, Clarisse.
Thank you, Florence. So first of all, I would like to thank you and to welcome you in this webinar dedicated to contours comparison with our solution ARTIVIEW Structure Check. Before really beginning, I will present you AQUILAB. So AQUILAB is a French company which develops and markets advanced software solutions to improve quality in cancer treatments. And this activity is divided in 4 sections. So first of all, we have the quality assurance of medical devices with our RT-Scan software dedicated to imaging and matching QA. Then we have the improvement of medical expertise with ARTIVIEW software, which is used for preparation and evaluation of radiotherapy treatments. Another aspect is the improvement of quality of clinical studies to better evaluate the new strategies based on SharePlace, which is our web platform and which centralizes and analyzes imaging and radiotherapy data. Finally, AQUILAB is strongly implicated in the training of radiotherapy professionals with online contouring tools dedicated to education and workshop organization. So today we will go to the contours evaluation using Structure Check, which is a part of ARTIVIEW, our software dedicated to plan preparation and treatment evaluation. So ARTIVIEW is a modular solution dedicated to the management of multimodality imaging with all necessary tools to prepare a plan with the image fusion, 3D contouring tools, but also automatic PET segmentation. For this last part, the automatic PET segmentation, another webinar will be held on Sunday. The solution can also import DICOM RT structure files and DICOM RT dose from all TPS to compare contours, but also to compare, analyze, or sum different treatments. ARTIVIEW Plan Check, which is used to automatically review plans based on those templates, will also be presented in another webinar planned Saturday. So we will now focus on ARTIVIEW Structure Check and on the comparison of contours. So as I explained earlier, ARTIVIEW can load DICOM RT assets from any TPS, which make it possible to evaluate contours consistency between all these contours and to compute indexes such as the dyes, the distances, or volumes. But as nothing beats a demo, I will go to ARTIVIEW. So this is ARTIVIEW Interface, and as you can see, a case is already loaded. So it's a GNA case which has been used a few years ago for a specific workshop. So as you can see, there are the images which are loaded. In this case, there is a CT scan and an MRI. Of course, it is possible to load as many images as you want. The only requirement is to have registered images. So on the left panel, you have the list of all data available for this patient. And as you can see, there is a very long list of RT structure files with different contours, because as I explained, it's a case used for a workshop. So there is one RT structure file for each participant to the workshop. So as we have now loaded the images, we will select the structure set we want to load, and we will load the structure sets in the system. So the contours are displayed on the images. As you can see, we have all the contours. So I will just zoom on the images to have a better view. And here we have the session, so that's all the things loaded in the views. So we have, of course, the images and the structure sets. If we go now to the contours evaluation module, you will see that all the structure will be grouped by name. So we have all the CTV together, the GTVs, the rectum, and so on. The first step will be to define on which structure we want to work. We will be able to compare the structure one at a time. So in this case, I will remove all the structure and I will define my working group as the CTV for this example. So now I only have all the CTVs displayed. And for the comparison, we also need a reference structure. So here we will also select the reference structure. In this case, we have a specific gold standards, which has been drawn by the experts for the workshop. So as you can see, the reference contour is displayed in yellow to be more visible on the other contours. So this is the first way to visualize all the contours. It's the contouring mode, and we have another visualization mode, which is the overlaying mode. So if I tick this box right here, then the system calculates an overlay mask. And as you can see, there are different regions corresponding to different colors. So these colors correspond to the intersections of the contours. For example, here, the dark blue corresponds to a region only covered by one contour, while if I go down, I will have the red region, and this one corresponds to a complete coverage of the region by all the contours. So all the contours cover this region. So this overlay mode is pretty interesting for workshop to lead the discussion. If we go to the sagittal view, for example, right here, so I will zoom a little bit more, you can see easily that there is a lot of discrepancy in these upper limits of the contour and in the lower limits of the contour. And it's the same if we go over the contours, then we can see that, for example, this is an interesting part of discrepancy, and probably these regions will need to be discussed during the workshop. So all of these visualization modes are very interesting during the workshop, but it's also very interesting to be able to quantify the discrepancies and consistencies of the contour. So that's why we have some indices available. So here you have the different indices which can be computed. You can just select the indices you want to calculate and click on this button to launch the calculation. Right now we have, as you can see, a tab containing all the structure sets, and for all the structure sets, different indices calculated. In this first tab, all the structure sets are compared individually to the reference. So here, for example, we will calculate the overlap volume, the dice volume, the volumetric ratio, or the common volume and additional volume, but it's individual. In the second tab we have right here, it's also very interesting because we have a global comparison. And for this global comparison, we calculate the mean volumes for all the structure sets, the standard deviation of the volume, and also the global overlap and the global dice. Of course, these quantified information are very interesting if you have to write a paper, for example, or it's also very interesting if you want to compare the improvements before and after the workshop, and so before and after the training. You have also the opportunity to export all these information in an Excel format. Finally, I will show you a last tool, which is quite interesting, which is here the possibility to extract a kind of consensus contour, because it's also interesting to be able to take into account all the contours performed and to be able to extract a kind of consensus about concerning these structures. So here we will create a consensus. And we will define which is the extraction criteria. So in this case, for example, we have 21 structures. And so we will think that maybe 15 contours agreements would be great. So we will have just select the 15 here and click on OK. So the system will generate automatically a consensus contour corresponding to the intersection of 15 structure sets. So if I remove the CTVs, here you can see that we have our consensus volume, which is drawn automatically by the system. And then you can, of course, modify, edit this contour with the different discussion. You can edit it. So you can export the file in a DICOM RTSS format to be able to export it to your own system, or you can also use all the tools available in ARTIVIEW to edit the contours. So I think it's almost all for this demo. I would like to thank you for your attention, and maybe Florence will let us know if there are any questions.
Yes, thank you, Clarisse. Yes, we had one question that I will be reading on behalf of one of the attendees, and that's, is it possible to have access to other indexes?
Yes, so we are currently working on new indexes, so we will have a new version early 2021. And in this version, we will have the Hausdorff distance, which will be calculated. We will also have the staple extraction contour, which will be available in this version. And of course, we are always open to discussion about new indexes, which should be added to a further version of the software.
Okay, thank you, Clarisse. And of course, we remain available for any question you may have, any extra information you may need. Feel free to contact us. And we thank you again for attending, and have a nice day. Bye.
Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye-bye.